we'll talk about Alex Garcia tomorrow, if you don't mind. There's more pressing and urgent stuff to deal with. Maybe, just maybe, there'll be even more pressing and urgent stuff to deal with later on today if we announce Luis Guilherme. I've been told that maybe the media department have got something special up their sleeves. I don't know whether that's a sort of different type of video or they're going to surprise us with the timing of it. I think, the actual announcement itself won't be any sort of surprise. We all expect it to happen now. He passed his medical yesterday. Signs a contract today. Apparently all the media stuff's been done. Expect it at any moment. I'm actually expecting at the point of me recording this video, by the time I go and edit the video, it might all be done. It might be a completely different video. Anyway, so what I might be saying might be a complete waste of time. Hey, it usually is. What I would probably say just before I talk about Ben Johnson and before I talk about Kurt Zouma is the Guilherme one. I think it's a good signing. I would hope it's not our main signing of the summer. I think I want a big signing, which improves us. And I'm not saying he'll improve the squad. It'd be really nice if someone could come into the first team and push someone else out. I think that would be really good. Maybe we'll be covering a bit of that with a talk about Kurt Zouma, though. Okay, so we've got two separate stories here. The first one is that Ben Johnson's been offered a 5-year contract at West Ham. And the other one is that West Ham are putting Kurt Zouma on the... he's up for sale. That's a bit of a weird one, really. Okay, well, we'll do it in reverse order. We will talk about Ben Johnson last because apparently Lopetegui likes him. Lopetegui's putting pressure on the club to get the deal done, apparently. Kurt Zouma, what can you say? I think overall you've got to probably say it's been a good signing for us. We won a trophy. We won our first trophy in years. At his best, he's a very, very good defender. At his worst, he's broken. And for that reason, I just... Look, wanting and getting are two very, very different things. There are a whole load of things that I'd quite like to sell. I think I could possibly stick on eBay, but whether I get any money for them is another matter indeed. I've always been, certainly for the last 12 months at least, a little bit dubious whether Kurt Zouma would pass a medical anywhere. So it's all very well us putting him up for sale, but he has 1 year left on his contract. And I understand it, there is an option there. The club are not going to take up the option. There was a point last season where the medical team were very, very worried about him. And certainly a lot of people felt he couldn't play 2 games a week. Actually, it turned out he did okay. He didn't break down to the point where I think some people expected him to break down. However, it's really hard to look at last season and particularly the goals conceded and say that anyone defended particularly well. I think, as centre-backs, maybe, just maybe, Mavropanos was best of a bad bunch, but, it's hard to argue that anyone did well, because we just conceded so many bloody goals, didn't we? A Premier League record for West Ham, I think. So, putting Zouma up for sale, you're probably not going to get any money for him. So what's the point of putting him up for sale? I think if anybody wants him, they're going to go and approach the club anyway. He can't be captain. That much is for certain. He just doesn't have... I always think a captain should be obvious. And you know when a captain is not obvious because you start talking about the other stuff. Oh, well, he's quietly influential. He leads by his performances. These are the sort of words that you hear. When you actually get a real proper leader, you're not saying any of those things because they're just leading. They're vocal and they lead. I've always thought a captain should probably be centre half or central midfielder. In the middle of the park. If the captain is there to give instruction, to give encouragement, to do all that type of thing. If they're going to lead by example, it doesn't really matter where they bloody play, really. But you need good communication skills. Zouma's quiet, and I think Gio always made the point that whenever we'd taken a thumping, and we took a fair few thrashings last season, didn't we? Zouma was never the one to be put forward. He would never front up and do the after-match video. It'd always be somebody else. So, you've got responsibility on the pitch, responsibility, you've got media commitments, there's a lot of stuff that you've got to organise behind the scenes, particularly for new players coming in. And I think we don't know what Zouma did for new players coming in and helping people settle, but certainly communication on the pitch, media duties, two of the biggest parts of being a captain, he wasn't really doing them. So I think he's going to be stripped to the captaincy. That was going to happen anyway, but I don't think he gets into the team. If everything you hear about... about Julen Lopetegui is true. The centre-backs are meant to be comfortable on the ball. That's what you hear. The centre-back's comfortable on the ball. And one of the central midfielders sometimes drops in, drops back. Edson Alvarez would be a prime candidate for that. He wants to keep possession. He wants centre-backs that are comfortable stepping into midfield, comfortable on the ball and can maybe pass the ball like a midfielder. That's not Kurt Zouma. Never has been, never will be. So, but it cost a lot of money. We were never going to get our money back on him anyway. He was sort of half broken when we bought him, and he's a bit more than half broken now. I don't think his career's over. I think the trouble is comparisons are always made between sort of Paul McGrath and Ledley King, and the comparisons were, of course, because they didn't really train. They were sort of broken, but I think they're not the same comparisons. I mean, certainly in the case of Paul McGrath, he read the game so well. He was never particularly quick. He never really relied massively on his athleticism. It was his skill and his intelligence and his anticipation and stuff like that. I think when you're someone like Zouma, you are relying on your physical attributes. So, look, will he go? I don't know. I only don't know because I'm not sure who will buy him, quite frankly. Will he be a first team starter every game under Lopetegui? I doubt it very much indeed, unless all the information and all the coaching seminars and the masterclasses and everything we've read and seen and heard about Lopetegui are true. Then Zouma really has no future at West Ham. But now we're here. That is my chair. Can you hear it? I know I always say that, but I promise you, it's my chair. It's a very, very squeaky chair. I don't know why it's more squeaky than normal. Anyway, before I talk about Ben Johnson, about Lopetegui some more, can I please point you in the direction of today's video sponsor, which is Manscaped. This is the Lawnmower 5.0, considerably better than the 4.0. Now, the 4.0 was a nifty bit of kit. Let me tell you about these male grooming tools because, well, first of all, it's got a torch in it, but don't worry about that. I'm assuming you've got a light in your bathroom. You never know with energy prices, to be perfectly honest with you. It's waterproof, so you can actually use this in the shower. It's just a brilliant bit of kit. It's got ceramic blades. Why does that make a difference? Well, they're not metal, and because they're not metal, they're really rounded and they're really good, so they don't nick your skin. It's not going to cut you, this thing, as well. I don't even think this is the best product they do. I know I've said it a number of times before, but there's a reason that we've been doing Manscaped and we've been selling the Manscaped stuff. I've got the box down here for so many years, and that is because they just produce such good stuff. So if you want an upstairs or a downstairs bit of grooming kit, then Manscaped's the place to go. We're going to give you 20% off, by the way. But my favourite product is the beard trimmer because it's got adjustable. It's basically got an adjustable beard trimming nozzle on it, which allows you to do. If you want to do it all like number 3 there, that's fine. Number 6 with a moustache. I'm giving away my trade secrets here. It's absolutely brilliant. I've been using beard trimmers, shavers all my life, and nothing remotely comes close to Manscaped. The link is in the description below. Go to their website. If you're going to go and purchase any of their gear, then go and have a look at it. And when you get to the checkout, where it says, do you have a discount code? Say, yes, I do. It's HammersChat20, all one word. Best of all, you don't just get the discount. We're going to pay for your shipping as well. Go and check it out. Link is in the description below. Ben Johnson. Well, I guess you sort of heard the headline at the start of the video, really, didn't you? The headline was that the club want him to sign a new 5-year deal. I mean, this is a tough one. I mean, it's a tough one for Ben Johnson, not a tough one for me. Why would you not? I mean, one thing you hear a lot about people with Ben Johnson, I don't think Ben Johnson's ever had a really good crack at the whip at any point. I've spoken to numerous academy staff. I've spoken to, well, if you're regular on our Patreon, if you're a member of our Patreon, you know this. We're honest, we've spoken to coaching staff at West Ham, we've spoken to scouts, we've spoken to academy directors. They all say Ben Johnson's a really good player. I don't think he's ever had a chance. I don't think he's ever played 5 games in a row in his favoured position. And so we've never seen what he can do. But even people that are not Ben Johnson fans, the worst thing that people write is championship player. Okay, even if we take that, even if he was a championship player, he's still worth some money, right? You're still going to have to replace him. We seem to be going out buying all these Brazilian players as well. We're going to need to take care of the homegrown quota. We absolutely are. Look, Ben Johnson ticks that box. And I'll tell you what, if we got into Europe again, we'd need him as well because he's homegrown, he's from the academy. This stuff is important. I think he's a really good player. I don't think he's a world beater. I think he's a really good player. And I think at a time when we're about to transition to a coach who likes his fullbacks, who likes his fullbacks to be a little bit more versatile, then I think he ticks that box as well. I think he covers both positions, and I'd like to see him get a chance. He's not asking for a fortune, apparently. £50,000 a week. By modern standards, it ain't that much. But it certainly ain't that much if you've got to replace him. Even if you wanted to replace him, even if you think that Ben Johnson is a championship standard player, you go and try and get one without paying quite a few million. It's going to be hard. Even if you're going to go and get a really average right back, it's going to cost you 10 million. Yeah, that's in the transfer fee. You're going to have to go and pay a signing on fee as well. It's going to cost you a lot of money. We don't have to do that with Ben Johnson. There's money to be saved here. Also, there was this big thing when Mark Noble was retiring. Do you remember that? Mark Noble would always go and sweep the dressing room. It was part of the tradition. Away games, Mark Noble would sweep the away dressing room. All that stuff he passed down. He was meant to be passing down, not for Ben Johnson to be captain, but almost the heritage and basically the DNA of the club was being passed from Mark Noble down to Ben Johnson. I think it would be a hell of a shame if he were to leave. He's going to have options because, I mean, personally, I don't think he's a championship player. I think he's better than that. I think he's a Premier League player. He's not a Champions League player, but he is a Premier League player. And I think he'll get to play Premier League football for someone or other. So I really do hope it's West Ham. I think the fact that Lopetegui is asking for the club to get the deal done, well, it tells us two things. The fact that the club are offering him a 5-year deal does show that if there is intention from the manager or the head coach, that they will get the deal done. Which in turn, the other thing it tells you is that there obviously wasn't that from David Moyes. And I think we had some pretty stinky old performances last season, and there were times when West Ham were shockingly shite, and Ben Johnson would have come on as a substitute and looked like the best player on the pitch. You know, not every game, but I mean, there were 4 or 5 games last season where West Ham were terrible and Ben Johnson was good. And he was never rewarded with a run in the team. So I think there's an opportunity here. It's almost like bloody hard to say, 3-pronged opportunity to get that done. So yeah, I hope they get it done. I'd really like to see him signed up. It's a no-brainer really. Leaves more money for other signings elsewhere. And let's be fair, we're all going to try and sign the whole of Brazil at the moment. We need all the money we can get, and we need some homegrown players.